Welcome to AFL Access's season previews, where Ryan and I will look at all 18 teams pre-season and predict how they will fare in the 2019 season. I'm Joel, and today I'll be looking at the Essendon Bombers. 2018 for the Bombers was a frustrating year as they were stuck on 12 and 10 Island along with the Power, Crows and Roos being a game and a fair bit of percentage outside of a final spot. But outside of that, I think there is a lot of upside to the Bombers, with most, if not all of their big acquisitions in the 2017 off-season paying off in spades. First and foremost, Devon Smith was an absolute beast all season, and greatly contributing to a pretty formidable midfield for the Bombers alongside stalwarts Zach Merritt and Dyson Heppell. Adam Sard being a fantastic run-and-gun halfback who adds another component to the Bombers' attacking style of game has been a great feature of their 2018 season. Jake String was also a nice complement to a small forward core, which was a big feature of 2018 with Joe Danaher being out for most of the season. Oh yeah, and Joe Danaher was out for a majority of the season, leading to changes surrounding the forward line with a larger focus on the smaller forwards like
Razio Fantasia, Razio Fantasia.
Thanks for that, BT. The aforementioned Jake Stringer and Anthony McDonald, Tip and Woody. To be honest, it worked really well and may raise some questions about the forward structure of the Bombers heading into the 2019 season. Well, if everyone's healthy. In the off-season, Essendon kept the additions to the team fairly minimal but still exceptionally strong by trading for Dylan Shield from the Giants. In the past 2 years, it seems that the Bombers are taking a page from the Blues playbook of trading for Giants players to bolster their team. The Bombers also traded away Travis Collier to the Dockers for a 4th round pick in 2019. In the draft, they acquired Irving Mosquito, who was a Hawthorn Academy pick, Noah Gown and Braden Ham, with their 3 picks in the main draft. In the rookie draft, they re-rookied Matt D and picked up ex-Pie Tom Jock. The Bombers let go of only a handful of players, one of which was Brendan Goddard, seemingly putting an end to his illustrious career. Jackson Merritt, the lesser-known Merritt brother behind Zach, and Josh Green, with Matthew Leuenberger retiring. Even though there weren't many moves made in the preseason, I think Essendon's goal is pretty crystal clear, and that is make finals. Whether it be a deep run or a one-and-done, just getting there with the talent they have is pretty much a bare minimum for Essendon. Some questions like how will Danaher reintegrate in the forward structure that has been very potent on the ground in his absence can arise. One of the strongest aspects of Joe's play style is his incredible marking ability, but not really bringing ball to the ground for the smaller forwards to crumb and rope the pack, which was highlighted in his season's long absence. Dylan Shield reuniting with Devon Smith could be a nitrous oxide boost to the midfield, which is already pretty impressive enough with names like Dyson Heppell and Zach Merritt being their usual amazing selves. Down back, the defence will most likely look to take another step forward with 2016 number 1 draft pick Andrew McGrath further developing in his 3rd year of AFL football. There'll be also a burgeoning push for many players to claim spots in the lineup, with many 2nd and 3rd year players on the Bombers list waiting to get more game time. So, as I've done with the previous videos, we'll start with the backline to analyse and assess their strength. Stalwart Mark Bagley will be a rock in defence for the Bombers by providing a shutdown role in the back half, despite his small size. In the 2018 season, he also became a pretty versatile forward option by scoring at a rate of a goal a game in the 2018 season. The same could be said about Cale Hooker, who can play a defensive role and also a tall forward who kicks a handful of goals. I think he also plays ruck occasionally, so yeah, he's pretty much a jack of all trades. Aaron Francis, the 6th pick from the 2015 draft, will look to make a huge splash as another shutdown defender, as he appeared to at the end of the 2018 season. After being on the list for 4 years, had only racked up 10 games, with 5 being in the 2018 season, and the best he's been able to string on at one time. Rumours did begin to swell about whether or not he'll be traded back to South Australia, but in the end, for the time, he has decided to stay with the Bombers. For now. Halfback line will most likely be a very strong point for the Bombers, and maybe what gets them over the top with their run and speed off the counter-attack off the half-back line. Adam Saad, after a strong 2018 season, will continue to develop the fast run-and-gun style that has been sweeping across the AFL in the past couple of years. Alongside Irishman Connor McKenna, Saad could be a cornerstone of a vicious counter-attack coming out of the defensive 50 for the Bombers in 2019. Andrew McGrath, the first overall pick from the 2016 draft, will be coming into his third year, and he'll also look to become a more speedier halfback, and also be a necessary shutdown defender if need be. If you want to see him play the more shutdown role, I would recommend watching the round 1 match against the Crows from 2018, as he completely smothered Eddie Betts, causing him to have no impact on the game whatsoever. Michael Hurley will be a key piece to the defence for the Bombers, as he's been an All-Australian backman for the past 2 years, and he will look to keep up his excellent defensive efforts. Some other players who will look to get more of a role in the backline this year could be Jordan Ridley, Michael Hartley and Patrick Ambrose, but it's going to be tough with a pretty solid and sturdy defence. The midfield for the Bombers is absolutely loaded. Probably on paper one of the top 5 in the league, and really have a potential to push them far into September. Well, let's get the big names out of the way first. Dyson Heppell, Zach Merritt, Devon Smith, David Zaharakis, Darcy Parish, and now Dylan Shield is something that most teams would be really hesitant to stare down the barrel of. The best part about this is they have a nice combination of both seasoned veterans and some still developing youth to round out the midfield. The captain, Dyson Heppell, who has led from the front after the disastrous tail end of Joe Watson's tenure, is one of the core contributors to the future success of the Bombers. With his terrific ability and impeccable leadership, will be a highlight to watch in the 2019 season. Zach Merritt is a game changer for the Bombers and has been one of the best players since entering the league in 2013. With just over 100 games, Merritt is pretty much poised to reach another level, as he is just starting to touch his prime. David Zaharakis has been one of the most consistent players for the Bombers, although it does help that he completely sidestepped the whole supplemental saga suspension. Every time he goes out on the ground, he leaves it all out there, even when he was early on in his career, like the Anzac Day clash against Collingwood where he kicked the winning goal. He will look to continue his form from the past couple of years with way more help now, and even then, he can probably relax a bit knowing that not all the weight of the team is on his shoulders. Now, Devon Smith's first season with the Bombers was absolutely stellar and was probably the most consistent performer for the team, and he was rewarded with the Crichton Medal. For those who don't know, the Crichton Medal is the best and fairest for the Essendon Bombers team, and I really can't think of a player off the top of my head who was traded to a team and then won the best and fairest for their new team in their first season, which is really, really impressive. Darcy Parish is developing pretty well behind the pretty strong midfield and will most likely want to step out of the shadow to put his own stamp on the game in the 2019 season. Finally, Dylan Shield, the newest member of the Bombers' already murderous row of midfielders, can only make it even better, if that's even possible. If you've ever taken a cursory glance at the Giants over the years and how they've developed and blossomed into what they are now, you'll know that Dylan Shield is one of the biggest success stories of that development. Shield, I believe, will complement a lot of the Bombers' midfield throughout the season and honestly will add an extra element to them, which might put them over the top and get them a deep run at the finals at the end of the season. Tom Bell-Chambers will be the number one option for the Bombers' ruck and should take up a majority of the games at the first bounce. With the retirement of Matthew Leuenberger, Cale Hooker and maybe Sean McKern will be the second option to give Bell-Chambers a break throughout the games that they play, but I honestly just see Bell-Chambers taking most of the ruck duty. The forward line for the Bombers should be an interesting narrative to follow throughout the 2019 season, as a big return to the side could shift how its dynamics work. Joe Danaher's injury throughout the 2018 season caused a large shift in the style in which the Bombers played in the forward line, more focusing on a scrambling and roving forward line setup. Funnily enough, it worked out pretty well for the rest of the season, so the reintroduction of the archetypical tall forward in Joe Danaher may create some issues in how the Bombers play the forward line. To be honest, I still think that a Bombers team with Joe Danaher is better than a team without Joe Danaher. Jake Stringer, Orazio Fantasia and Mitch Brown look to be the smaller options forward, and for parts of the 2018 season where there were no Danaher, they look to have developed some real chemistry. Anthony McDonald, Tip and Woody providing excellent forward pressure and vicious tackling ability also helped contribute to the success in the forward half. Fantasia had struggled throughout the 2018 season with injuries and did not get as much game time, but this year he can make up for it. Jake Stringer has been an asset to make up for a lot of lost experience in the forward line, so seeing how he does as a part of a fully fleshed forward line will be quite interesting. Another bit player in the forward line that will contribute will be another ex-Giant in James Stewart, who may get a better crack at it with Danaher taking most of the heat from opposition defenders. In my opinion, I think Essendon should be one of the more entertaining teams this season, so I think the Anzac Day match will obviously be a hell of a match, so check that out if you got nothing else to do on the public holiday. Some other matches I think will be pretty good will be their round 2 match against the Lions, the match against the Tigers in round 10, and their stretches of matches from round 13 to 15 against the Hawks, Eagles and Giants, respectively, also look pretty good on paper. The first round team going up against the Giants, I think, should look something like this. Now, where I think the Bombers will finish at the end of the season, it's pretty tough. I think there are some more complete and better teams which just may be too good for them, but honestly I think they should still make finals, so I'm gonna say 7th. Sounds fair? Okay? Wait, I'm the one recording this, never mind. Tell me in the comments below. Anywho, if you thought I was way off with my analysis, please, again, let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Ring the bell to stay notified of all new content, cause holy hell, we've got a lot coming your way. Next time you hear from me, I'll be discussing the Fremantle Dockers preseason and where I think they will be in 2019. So without further ado, this has been your AFL Access.